Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Newsgram. According to the National Health Service in England, 1 in every 100 people will be diagnosed with bipolar disorder at some point in their life. And it does not discriminate. It seems an equal number of men and women develop the illness, and it's found in all ages, races, ethnic groups, and social classes. And according to the National Institute of Mental Health here in the United States, 5.7 million Americans are diagnosed every year. And according to the Harvard Medical School, that's 2.8% of the entire United States population. All that being said, the least we can do is pay a little attention to it on this edition of Newsgram, and a great way to do that is to introduce you to Peter Smart. Peter and his wife have put together a layman's guide, if you will, to bipolar disorder. It's a book written and designed with first-hand experience, but we're going to get to all that in a second. First, I want you to meet Peter. Because on June 26th of 2020, while the world was reeling with a global pandemic, Peter lost his wife to cancer.
The worst day of my entire life.
He is now releasing the book I mentioned earlier called 1 in 100, Living with Bipolar. It was written by his late wife, Lorna Mabry, who originally wrote it to just help other people living with the bipolar disorder.
Lorna started researching it in 2011, and it's surprising how much research she actually did. She used to work on it hours and hours and hours. She'd sometimes be up till 6 a.m, still looking something up on the internet. So she'd print information off or write information down, read lots of books, and then all through the book she's illustrated by using examples from our own illness and treatment. That was about a 2-year job, and then we started typing it. That was even longer, and unfortunately our computer crashed, so it had to wait. And then in early January 2020, Lorna had gone to the doctors about pain in her mouth, lumps in her throat. Eventually then we got sent to see a specialist, and then he told Lorna that it was actually tongue cancer, and then secondary cancers in the mouth, neck and throat. But then COVID really hit Leicester at that time. March 2020, Leicester was the COVID capital of the country, and so our operation got cancelled.
The COVID virus and subsequent pandemic have had so many implications, it's going to take years to sort them all out. Fortunately, Lorna and Peter were able to save their research and release it to help others. 1 in 100 was written by someone with first-hand experience with bipolar disorder, so it's easy to understand and relate to. In addition to some useful information, you also get some insight into Lorna as a person, and it's the human element that really sets this book apart. In it, she writes,
Here we are. Each day is a challenge and is difficult for me. Some people who suffer from this illness don't have many good days, but just experience bad days. I'm more positive and confident about everyday life, whereas when I was down, I was really negative. When I first got sick in December 1999, I was more or less in a hopeless state. However, this is nobody's fault, and it's just a freak of nature. I don't get many manic episodes now, only when I sing. I get very elated, high, and I can't seem to come down to earth. Yes, apart from suffering from depression, I also suffer from panic attacks, mainly when I go out, which isn't very often. My GP has prescribed me propranolol, which seems to suit, and I carry this tablet wherever I go.
The main part of the book is self-help for people with mental health issues, beginning with diagnosis, treatment, hospital stays, recovery, and how to improve your own mental health and stay well.
A better understanding of bipolar, what you can do to help yourself, which is what Lorna has really focused on. So a lot of the chapters 2 to 11, Lorna's ideas on how to help yourself. Like I say, making sure you get the right treatment, making sure you take medication, probably join a support group, meet or talk to people who've got a similar illness, this sort of thing. Try and eat healthily, try and sleep, try and take exercise, all those sort of sensible things, making you properly healthy, both mentally and physically, because a lot of people who experience poor mental health also experience poor physical health as a knock-on effect. If you're not going to go out, you're not going to get exercise. If you're not going to get exercise, you're not going to be fit. If you're not going to be fit, you might put weight on. It can all have a knock-on effect.
There are some first-hand experiences, short stories, and poems by Lorna and her husband Pete and their daughter Lydia, like this one, which you can find on page 93.
This is one of Lorna's, Am I Going Mad? It's the title of the poem. The thoughts within my brain are driving me insane. The thoughts inside my head have almost gone dead. My brain feels empty like a sieve. This is often how I live. A chemical imbalance makes me think wrong thoughts. I misbehave, I'm out of sorts. I was guilty of no crime, just ill and sectioned for a time. I was diagnosed with postnatal depression, however, this wasn't true. The quacks got it all wrong, like they sometimes do. I was misdiagnosed, there's no doubt. I have bipolar, which affects the mind. It's a part of me that I have declined. I'm up 1 minute and down the next. My mood swings vary and I get perplexed. I'll tell you one thing that keeps me sane. That's doing crosswords, which help my brain.
The New York Times will love that. A prescription for crossword puzzles to keep you mentally healthy. Can't argue with that. In closing, I would like to leave you with some humbling advice from someone that has had to deal with more adversity than the average person.
Never give up. Lorna, the author, the late author, she never gave up. She had bipolar for 20 years, including several hospital stays, and she called it a monster of an illness. But during recovery and managing her bipolar, she's managed to write 2 books. So she's proved you can do it. So 3 short words describing this would be patience, resilience, and hope.
And never give up. The book is called 1 in 100, Living with Bipolar by Lorna Mabry. If it gives you some additional comfort, they point out a number of celebrities that have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and some of them may come as a surprise to you. Some not so much. Celebrities like Carrie Fisher,
Kurt Cobain, Vivian Leigh, famous for Gone with the Wind and being married to Laurence Olivier, the American poet Sylvia Plath, and the English humorist, writer, director, actor, everything, Stephen Fry. He's got bipolar. And a brief heavyweight boxing champion called Frank Bruno from the UK. He managed to win the world title. So it's not a totally isolating illness, or you shouldn't feel isolated with it, because, and as the book title says, 1 in 100 people are expected to have bipolar at some stage. That's quite a lot of people when you think how many people there are in the world.
The family will be donating a third of the profits, after paying the taxes, to leading charities focused on support for mental health and cancer. It's available all over the internet, including some of the more popular places like Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, and we've put links to all of them in the show's description. And that will do it for another edition of Newsgram from WebTalkRadio.com.